Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here because we are about to uncover the unseen mechanics of reality. We live our day-to-day lives completely surrounded by things we can touch, see, and hear. But today, we're going to look right past all of that. We're going to peel back the curtain on the invisible infrastructure that constantly dictates how our world and honestly, our very minds actually operate.
So, think about this for a second. What do the deepest oceans, your daily glass of water, and the quietest person in a room all have in common? At first glance, absolutely nothing, right? They seem like totally unrelated concepts. But stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how these three things are deeply connected by the incredible power of what we cannot see.
The crucial connection here is that whether we're looking at the forces of nature, the backbone of modern technology, or human psychology, the real machinery operates completely hidden from view. The loudest, most visible things in our lives are usually just the surface level. It's actually the silent, unseen systems that are truly doing all the heavy lifting. Part 1. Our hidden physical world. What lies beneath? Let's start by exploring the literal, invisible infrastructure that surrounds us every single day. The physical world we think we know is actually propped up by massive, hidden systems that most of us never even give a second thought. For example, we constantly talk about uploading things to the cloud. It sounds airy, invisible, and up in the sky, doesn't it? We kind of just assume the internet is bouncing around in the atmosphere or pinging off satellites in space. But the physical reality of how a message travels thousands of kilometers in a fraction of a second is completely different.
Prepare to have your mind blown a little bit. Over 95%, the internet is not in the sky at all. It is incredibly grounded, and more specifically, it is completely submerged.
That's right, 95% of international internet traffic actually travels through thousands of kilometers of fiber optic cables laid right across the bottom of the ocean floor. When you send a message, your device breaks it down into tiny data packets. These cables then transmit that information as pulses of light, moving billions of bits of data every single second through the dark, freezing depths of the ocean. So every time you stream a video, light is quite literally racing across the ocean floor.
Let's bring this even closer to home and trace the incredible journey of a single drop of water. Earth basically has the exact same water it had billions of years ago. So that water you're drinking today from your glass, it might have literally been inside a dinosaur millions of years ago. The sun heats the oceans, water evaporates, forms clouds, and rains back down into the earth. It's this ancient, invisible, and totally endless cycle of connectivity happening right in front of us.
And this hidden architecture extends all the way out into the vastness of space, too. Consider the event horizon of a black hole. When a massive star collapses, its gravity becomes so immense that it creates this invisible boundary. We can't even see black holes directly. Scientists only detect them by observing how nearby stars and gas react to their hidden gravitational pull. Some of these unseen giants contain the mass of billions of suns, totally hiding in plain sight.
Part 2. The body's invisible systems. Maintenance mode. Let's transition inward for a moment. Just like the depths of space and the bottom of the ocean, your own body runs a massive, hidden operating system. Take the number 100,000. That is the sheer scale of your biology. That's the number of times your heart beats every single day, and you don't even have to think about it. You're not consciously commanding it to beat. It just does, silently powering your existence in the background. And it's not just your heart. While you're just going about your day, your skin is literally replacing itself on a monthly basis. Billions of neurons are constantly communicating through electrical signals. Your immune system is actively hunting down harmful microbes. But perhaps the most amazing hidden function happens when you go to sleep. Deep sleep activates a cleaning system in your brain that clears away harmful waste proteins linked to diseases like Alzheimer's. So sleep isn't just resting. It's a highly active, totally invisible survival program. Now, when you disrupt that hidden maintenance, the results are pretty shocking. If you stay awake for about 17 hours straight, your reaction time, concentration, and mood deteriorate so much that your brain actually mimics being under the influence of alcohol. You can't visibly see the damage happening, but the invisible consequences of skipping that nightly cellular repair are profound and immediate. Part 3. How your brain tricks you. The 11 million bit illusions. So let's shift from the hardware of the body to the software of the mind and explore how your brain quietly bends reality. Your brain processes an unbelievable 11 million bits of information every single second. 11 million! But out of all that, your conscious mind can only handle a tiny, tiny fraction of the data. To cope with this massive overload, your brain creates hidden shortcuts, known as cognitive biases, to make quick decisions for you behind the scenes without you ever even noticing.
And because of these shortcuts, we make first impressions in less than a second. One of the most common invisible shortcuts is called the halo effect. If someone smiles, we assume they're friendly. If someone speaks loudly and confidently, we just assume they're smart. But what if someone is completely silent? Well, our brains often make the flawed split-second assumption that they're insecure, arrogant, or even angry. We literally judge their whole personality based entirely on the absence of noise.
Part 4. The loudness of silence, a hidden superpower. This brings us to a fascinating pivot in our explainer: reframing quietness. People often assume that when someone is quiet, their mind is just empty. But research shows the introverted brain is incredibly active. Think of it like a computer. Some people open one program, talk, and process out loud. Quiet people, they have 50 tabs running simultaneously. They're analyzing facial expressions, evaluating conversations, predicting outcomes. Their silence isn't empty at all. It is completely crowded with high-level thought. Let's compare two different psychological approaches here. When insulted or challenged, the reactor argues instantly, defends themselves, and spends massive amounts of energy. But the observer, they pause. Emotionally intelligent people understand a crucial hidden truth. Every single reaction costs energy. They use silence as their strongest response because they analyze the situation first, saving their energy for the battles that actually matter. They don't have to shout because they have already won in their minds.
Part 5. The power of observation, what you miss.
Imagine two people in a meeting. One talks nonstop and the other quietly watches. By the end, the observer almost always knows more. Professional negotiators, psychologists, and investigators spend far more time observing than speaking, simply because people reveal their true selves long before they realize it. The observer is quietly gathering so much while everyone else is distracted by the loudest voice in the room. They're picking up on micro body language. They hear the slight shifts in tone of voice. They notice subtle eye movements, nervous habits, and hidden emotional patterns. Because listening gathers information, while talking only reveals it. Your brain actually stores information much better when you're actively, silently listening.
It all really comes down to the logic of scarcity. Diamonds are valuable because they're rare. Gold is valuable because it's limited. Well, the exact same psychology applies to human speech. When you speak less, your words become rare and therefore significantly more valuable. Psychologists call this the curiosity gap. When you speak carefully, you create mystery. The human brain hates unanswered questions, so people naturally lean in and listen much closer to the person who doesn't just give everything away at once.
And this leads us to a massive scientific truth. The ability to remain calm, to pause, and to observe activates the brain's prefrontal cortex, which is the area responsible for planning and decision-making. This silent self-control is called emotional regulation, and studies show it predicts long-term success much more accurately than raw intelligence. It's the ultimate unseen predictor of a person's true potential.
I want to leave you with this really powerful quote as our emotional anchor for this explainer. Wise people speak because they have something to say. Foolish people speak because they have to say something. History is absolutely full of thinkers, inventors, and leaders who changed the world not by being the loudest, but by thinking the deepest. Noise might attract immediate attention, for sure, but silent wisdom earns lasting respect. Which brings us to our final provocative thought. The next time you're in a crowded room, take a moment to just pause and ask yourself, what hidden details are you missing simply because you won't stop talking? Whether it's the data traveling miles under the ocean, the cells repairing in your sleep, or the profound thoughts of the quietest person in the room, the most powerful forces are out there waiting to be discovered, if you just know how to look for them. Keep learning, keep observing, and thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.